So hi everyone, it is the 17th of October 2019 and welcome to our Fun, Fit and Fabulous team call. So I am absolutely thrilled that Susie is jumping on with us this evening or this afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. Susie and I have been talking for quite a long time, and we're both part of the Southwest Market Council in the UK, and she, as you can probably hear, she is not British. She's an American expat, and she lives down in Weston-super-Mare with her partner. And I'll get her to introduce herself to you a little bit more in just a second. But she is one fantastic lady and such a positivity and ray of light and sunshine wherever she goes. And it's people like you, Susie, is one of the reasons why I love Beachbody so much and what we kind of have as a community. And it was lush having the time with you in Marbella, and it's just, yeah, it just reminds me what we have in our community, and I think that it's really cool. But just a bit about Susie. So she's a 1-star diamond. She is a Success Club 5 legend. Well done, my love. And she's also a top 10 elite coach in the UK. So I want to just ask you to just tell us very briefly about how you got into Beachbody and a little bit about why you do this, and then we'll launch into the stuff about objections, if that's cool with you. I'm going to stick myself on mute as well so you can't hear me or the dogs in the bones.
Okay, thank you so much for the introduction. And I feel the same about you. And it's been great to get to know you, and I'm excited for things to come. Our Bristol Fit Club that we're organizing is going to be awesome. I always love speaking on team calls. I just love to talk, so any chance that I can talk is just good to me. I have been a coach for almost 5 years now. I am originally from upstate New York. I hear a weird sound. Do you hear that?
Yeah, I've just muted everyone.
Okay. I'm going insane. Okay, so I'm from upstate New York, which is a part of New York State that is not New York City. I know it's hard to understand that New York State has 40 million people, but it does. So I went to school to be a teacher. I wanted to be a teacher my entire life. Both my parents are teachers. My grandfather was a professor. My aunt's a professor. My uncle's a professor. There are so many teachers in my family. And from day one, I was, lining up my Barbie dolls and stuffed animals and teaching class to them with, my little chalkboard and stuff. So I wanted to be a teacher my whole life. And then I was in grad school. I was studying to get my master's. And I remember sitting in the classroom and being like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. And it wasn't that I didn't want to be a teacher and help children and help kids and encourage learning. And I wanted to be an English teacher, so encourage people to love reading as much as I do. But I didn't agree with the system. I didn't agree with public schools being so heavily regulated by like the curriculum demands of the country. And I don't know if it's similar in the UK because I haven't taught full time here. I've only taught part time in like a language center. So I've never experienced like a public school system in the UK, but they take so much of your freedom away. And I love being creative, and I love, doing what I think is best for my students. And I didn't feel like I had that chance. So I taught abroad. My story is very long, so I won't get into everything. I've lived in a bunch of countries. I've traveled a lot, and I fell in love with traveling. And I was a teacher. I taught ESL for 4.5 years, and I started Beachbody on the side. So I moved to Thailand for a year, taught there. And at this time, I was doing Insanity before I knew that Insanity was attached to Beachbody. And then I saw my friend's post about quitting her job. She was an acquaintance from high school, and I was like, what? Why are you quitting your job? Like, what are you doing? And this was, maybe 6 years ago. So it was before this whole kind of working online, working from home trend really was around. So I was very confused. And yeah, she told me about what she did. And I was living in Thailand still at the time when I reached out to her. And then I was like, well, I live in Thailand. I can't do it yet. But when I get home, I'll let you know. And I did. And I started coaching, and I started substitute teaching in the public school system in America, in New York, at the same time as I was coaching. So I was getting on these Zoom calls, and my team is like 7-time elite or something, my upline. So there's a lot of success. There's a lot of people making a lot of money with a lot of vacation time, unlimited vacation time. And I'm sitting in a substitute teaching classroom, living at my parents' house. Like, what the hell am I doing? And so I just had these two very drastically different lifestyles presented to me. And I really loved teaching, and I still do. I don't teach anymore in a classroom, but I feel like I teach every day. I teach people how to believe in themselves. I teach people that mental health is important, just as important as physical health. I teach people how to build a business, how to, stop their limiting beliefs. I teach people to do a lot of things. And instead of teaching them in a classroom, I'm teaching them from the comfort of my yoga pants, which is a much better deal for me. So that's kind of my quick version of my story. I think it's really important to know where people come from. Teachers and helpers and nurses and people who are in social work and those kind of roles, I think we often make good coaches because we know how to help people, and we have the heart to help people, which I think is really important. So I know that teachers always say, well, I'm a teacher, so I made a PowerPoint. And I say, I'm not a teacher anymore, so I didn't make a freaking PowerPoint. But I did write a little Google Doc, and just so you can see the words that I'm actually saying, because I think with objections, it's helpful to do that. So this is where we're going to start. So objection handling is something that I love talking about because I think it is focused on your confidence in this business, and confidence is everything. And I know as a new coach that it's really hard to see objections and to hear no, especially if you've never experienced it before. But I look at objections as a sign from the person who I'm speaking to, like, all right, girl, you need to grow. Talking about me, right? Objections are an opportunity for you to grow, for you to understand your business better, for you to believe in your business more, for you to understand how to communicate to people, how to get through to them. It is a skill, and it is something that we have to practice. It does not come easily to anyone, right? Everyone needs help with this. So if you feel like it's difficult, welcome to the club, right? We all think it's difficult. So look at it as an opportunity to grow, and realize that every single conversation that you're having is a chance for you to get better at it. So even if they don't say yes right away from your objection handle, you are having the opportunity to figure out if that gets through to them, if that touched a pain point, how can you really understand why they're giving you that objection. And so that confidence has to come first. I can tell you exactly what I say to handle people's objections. You can take exactly what I say and copy and paste it to the person, but unless you believe that yourself, it won't work. And that's just how this business works. So I know that it is frustrating sometimes to hear the same things again and again, but this is one that is true, and that its mindset comes first. Mindset is everything. And if you are not confident that you can handle that person's objection, then they're probably not going to really trust you anyways. Because who should think the most highly of what they're like promoting or selling, right? We hate to use that word, but it is, it is what it is. Like how can you trust someone who's like imagine if you went to like a high ticket price item, like you went to Louis Vuitton and you went in there and you had this dream bag that you wanted. Like, I know nothing about bags or brands or anything. This is not my jam, but it's just an example. So if you wanted to buy this really expensive purse and you went in there and you were like, well, how much is it? And they told you, and you were like, well, could I get it for cheaper? And they're like, oh, yeah, I know money's tight. Like, they're not saying that at Louis Vuitton. They're like, this is how much the bag costs. Like, do you want to invest in it or not, right? So obviously this is a little bit more delicate, but you have to be confident. If you went into Louis Vuitton and the woman, the saleswoman at Louis Vuitton was like, oh, yeah, I know, there are more affordable bags. Maybe you should go for that. I understand, times are hard. I'd be like, I don't know if I really trust this brand anymore. Like, are they really representing the high quality, high-end fashion that they claim to be like representing if they just cower away when I say that it's too expensive? Like, so you have to lead the way when it comes to objection handling. So one of the first things that I like to do is to isolate the objection to make sure that we know what we're talking about, if that is really the issue. And then using a feel, felt, found method, which is a very sales 101, but it works. And then you have a few options after that, but those are the first two. So I'll go into those first. So if someone says, ask for the price, you tell them the price, and then they say, oh, I'd love to, but it sounds a bit too expensive, or I don't have the money this month. And then I like to say this isolation, other than money, what's holding you back from getting started? Because then you figure out if it really is the money. Is it really the money? Because especially in the UK, and I've noticed that is a big difference in the market, I think having to do with just, the average job. I don't think the average job income is as high when I'm talking to American clients, American prospects. And you get paid once a month, right? So most people are getting paid once a month. So when you're talking to them at like this time, a lot of people have no money right now, right? And they're waiting for payday. So you have to understand that about, the world that you live in. So other than money, what's holding you back from getting started? If they say, oh, it's just the money, blah, 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 then you say, right, that's when you handle the objection. But you want to make sure that that's what it actually is. If it's not like, oh, well, I just hate working out from home, right? That's a completely different objection than the money. So these are some of the objections that I use, and I can totally just share this document with you so that you can just copy and paste and obviously tweak it to your language. So the first one, this is one that I use all the time. I get it. It does sound like a lot up front. So you're acknowledging what they're saying, right? When you break it down, though, it's only 4 pounds a week, and that gives you an entire year of workouts. I was spending that on a meal deal and coffee in the morning. Made a small sacrifice to invest in my health. Best thing I ever did. Do you have anything in your budget you can repurpose to invest in your health, right? So maybe that's not the way that you would say it. That's the way that I would say it. But that concept of saying that you understand that 160 pounds sounds like a lot, right, up front, but when you break it down, it's only 4 pounds a week. And that is a pretty crazy figure when you think about it. 4 pounds a week, like that is one less coffee a week when you break it down. And again, you have to be confident in that. If you think 160 pounds is expensive, then that's the first thing that you need to address, because 160 pounds is dirt cheap for what you get. It is dirt cheap. You get a whole bag of Shakeology. You get a year of all of these programs designed by celebrity trainers, meal plans to go with them. Like, it is just unbelievable. And you get all the support from your challenge group and your coach, right? If you sign up to get a life coach, you're paying per session. I can't tell you how many of my clients I am life coaching, right? For 160 pounds of them investing. So if you think that that is too much, then you definitely have to address that objection within yourself before you can confidently address it within others. So that's really important. Again, that goes back to the confidence in what we have to offer. So that's one that I use. Again, the next one is just for like an American version using dollars. And you want to make sure that you're ending with a question. Often we get awkward asking people questions about their finances. Don't be awkward. Don't be awkward about it. It's not awkward. You are not someone that's coming out there trying to be showy. I have all the money in the world, right? I'm a full-time coach. I am a full-time coach by choice because I'm trying to take my business to the next level. I'm not a full-time coach because I'm making 6 figures a year. Trust me, right? I know that I will be, but it takes time. It takes effort, right? So I understand I don't have unlimited finances, but am I going to invest in this? Absolutely. Do I believe that every single person, no matter what their income is, can invest in 160 pounds for this package in a year? Abso-freaking-lutely. So when someone gives me that objection, I want to make them understand the value. That is my job. That is your job. You have to make them understand the value. If they don't understand the value, then of course it's going to sound like too much, right? So that's what you're doing with an objection handle. And then again, these are just different ways of saying it depending on the person, depending on the conversation. Obviously, if you've had other conversations where you're talking about maybe financial hardship or things like that, maybe someone lost their job or they're out of work, obviously you need to tailor the way that you are speaking. I always believe to be, it's very good to be compassionate and to be kind to people. You shouldn't be like snooty about the money. But you have to be confident about the money, and you lead the way with that. If you are weird about talking about the money, then they're going to be weird about talking about the money. So again, I really like this one. It's using $4, but I like the end. Not sure if there's anywhere you can cut corners to make it work. So making them understand that you can switch around what you're already spending. So maybe you don't have 160 pounds right now extra, but can you change? Maybe you're doing 4 takeaways a week. Could you do 2, right? If I teach you how to meal prep, is this going to help you, right? Is that going to help you save money from eating out so there's so many angles that you can go. These are 2 that I got directly from my friend on my team. She's actually number 13 in the whole company, Ashley Feldison. So this is one that she uses and that I really like. So, okay, no, 160 sounds like a lot, but it's for the entire year. It's one time, and it's basically the silver platter for you to be successful. I first felt like, no way, I can go to Planet Fitness for $10. And of course, just, change this language to be for the UK, so I wouldn't say that to someone from the UK. I would say a different gym and for 10 pounds. But this program and the community changed my life, and it'll change yours too if you let it. So that one doesn't have a question at the end. That one, I would add a question based on our conversation, right? So like, how would you feel to make those changes? Because I'm obviously going to earlier in the conversation have talked about their goals. So how would you feel to lose those 10 pounds? Or how would you feel, to feel confident again in your clothes, or whatever it was that they said they really want to achieve. And again, I really like this one. I can totally relate. I was completely resistant at first, but if your life has changed even a fraction of how mine has been, I know you will be so grateful you took the plunge. Plus, if you don't love it, you can get every single penny back. So I don't know how many times you guys use this, that they can get a 30-day money back guarantee, but it really shuts down the money thing, because if they don't get results, then they can literally get their money back, right? And then telling them that they deserve it, right? But you deserve this. When is the last time you did something for yourself? I think that is one of the most powerful objection handle questions that you can ask someone, because most people, especially women in their 20s to 50s, are going to say, not, I haven't. I haven't done anything, especially if they're moms or just having lots of responsibilities, working full time, students, whatever it is, like we often put ourselves on the back burner. So I think that's a really, really powerful question. And it allows you to make it not directly about money, but about treating themselves well, right? Because it's about flipping that mindset. Is you are literally choosing with your dollars what is important to you. Are you the kind of person who is going to invest in your health, right? And if you're not, then, but you're willing to spend 20 pounds or 30 pounds every 2 weeks to get your nails done and spend, 80 pounds on your hair or 100 pounds on your hair. I don't know. My boyfriend's mom's a hairdresser, so I don't have to pay to get my hair done. I don't know how much it costs here. But however much it is, right? Or going out for drinks on the weekend or going out to eat all the time. Like that's still money that you can repurpose and use for something else. And you know that the people that are watching you as well can too. So that's, again, these are just a few different examples. But one thing that I did want to also talk about was how to use that money objection and then turn it into something for coaching, right? So I personally recruit for challengers first, and I like to change challengers into coaches. That is my personal method. But that doesn't mean I don't talk to people about the coaching opportunity that aren't yet challengers, because then I explain to them that in order to be a coach on my team, you have to first do a boot camp. That's just the way that I spin it. I don't say, you have to be a challenger first. I just say you have to experience a boot camp, because how can you promote a boot camp if you don't experience a boot camp? But if they're saying they don't have 160 pounds, well, you have an opportunity that can put 160 pounds in their bank account this week, right? They can make 160 pounds their first week. They can make it their first day. So you want to use that money objection and spin it back around, open the conversation for coaching. So this is, again, using specifically feel, felt, found with the actual words. So I totally understand how you feel. I felt the same way when I first thought about starting this program. Being tight on funds makes it rough to spend money on things, but I knew I wouldn't regret an investment in myself and my health. That's actually why I found the coach option better. I could earn right away and make it so I did have extra each month. Have you ever thought about sharing your journey like I do? Bam. That is such a powerful objection handle. And you are planting the seed, right? You are planting the seed of them to understand. A lot of people don't get that they can do what we do, right? We just assume that they understand that. But a lot of times they don't understand that. And maybe no one's ever asked them, right? We can't just assume that they know that we would be happy to have them on our team. We have to tell them that. And so again, here's another way. And this is talking about me, and this is real, right? This is my actual objection handle, because I actually did borrow the money from my parents to get a challenge pack. And that is 100% real. And I told myself when I did it that I would never borrow money from my parents again. So for something like that, for like something that I wanted, I have definitely borrowed some money in my whole life from my parents again. But so that's something that I said again, and I will give you all of this, so don't worry about writing it down. The next one, so money and time are the main two, right? So time, this one, we all know is bullshit, right? We know it's just bullshit, because some of the people in my challenge group are waking up at 4 a.m., literally 4 a.m. to get their workout in. So it's just bullshit. So, but again, we are helping them see how to reframe this, because a lot of people assume that it's like going to the gym. When you go to the gym, how long is it? An hour and 30 minutes. Really, with the commute, it probably ends up being about 2 hours on either side, right? So it's way different than just showing up to your living room. So you have to make them understand that they do have the time. So again, the same thing, you are addressing it head on. Don't shy away from the objection. Make sure that that is what the objection is. Other than time, what's holding you back from getting started, right? It's a really simple question, but it gives you a lot of information. Other than time, what's holding you back from getting started? And then again, you can handle their objection. If they say, oh, well, I don't really have the money, right? Then go back to the money objections, because they might say it's time, but then really it's the money, or the other way around. So you want to make sure that those are the objections that they actually have. So again, just for example, I totally understand how you feel. I felt the same way when I first thought about adding in a virtual boot camp to my already crazy schedule. Our boot camps are designed for busy schedules, as the workouts are only 30 minutes a day and you can do them from home. I found that showing up for this workout actually made me better in all areas of my life. Do you have 30 minutes a day that you can dedicate to making your healthy habits a lifestyle, right? And then again, just similar thing, but then asking, how long are you spending on your current workouts, right? That's a good objection handle for people who maybe already are doing something. And 99% of the time they're spending more than 30 minutes, right? So those are my 2 time ones. Again, you can tailor these, but you want to make sure that you lead with the confidence and that you make sure that you isolate that objection to make sure if they say that it's money, is it really money? Is that really what they're talking about? And then you handle the objection with feel, felt, found, and make sure you ask a question at the end. Do not just say, okay, maybe I'll check back with you next month, right? No, you have to handle the objection. You have to, because otherwise all the other work that you're doing isn't worth it. All the invites you're sending, all the connections that you're making, all the stories that you're doing, all the posts that you're doing aren't worth it if you're just gonna let someone go on their first objection. It's not worth it, because every single person that you're gonna get in, eventually, you're gonna have to handle their objections. And these are the 2 ones. Like, it's not that fancy, right? People are going to say time and money. That is the 2 main objections, right? There's others like that, not working out at home, right? I don't like working out at home. I like going to the gym. And that's when we talk about like our virtual, accountability, doing our Zoom calls, that you can stream it from anywhere, that they can stream it from outside, that they can stream it at the gym. Give examples of people in your boot camp that are doing that are living and breathing that. Or people who really like the gym, I often talk about Lift 4 and say, well, it's 4 days a week. You can do it at the gym, but you could also mix it in with other training you're already doing. Because not everyone needs to get into Beachbody and only do Beachbody workouts, right? You can totally integrate this into an already healthy, active lifestyle. So that's kind of my bread and butter for objection handling. I think that hearing no is inevitable. When you go to speak to someone, you should expect them to say no. You shouldn't expect them to say yes. You should expect that you're going to have this little challenge, right? And then you say to yourself, all right, let's grow. Like, let's figure out how to make this happen, how to make them see their value and their worth. Because to me, when obviously some days I'm like, oh, I can't be asked. You have the fucking money. I just saw all the stuff that you bought. I see you going out to eat every weekend. I see the clothes you're wearing. I know you have 160 pounds, right? Sometimes you just want to say that, but don't say that. Just, hold all those feelings in and then figure out how can you make them see the value in their health. Because to me, this is the best investment that I've ever made, ever, in my whole entire life. And so if you don't believe that, then again, you have to work on your belief. You have to work on your mindset, your confidence in the programs and in the products. And that just comes from getting kick-ass results. And guess who controls that? You. So you're in control of that. If you don't believe in the programs enough, then you have to say, I'm starting this program, whatever it is, and I'm going all in. I'm going all in with the meal plan. If you've never done that before, I'm telling you, it changes a lot in your business. It changes a lot in your life. And it gives you that confidence. Not that you can sustain that forever, right? The only program I would say that I went start to finish all in with nutrition and the workouts was 80-day obsession. And that is what literally like catapulted my business. Because people can see that. They can see it and they can feel it. And I don't know about you, but I am loving MM100. So for me, the invite process has been so much easier because I'm genuinely excited to talk to people about it. And I'm genuinely excited to get people involved with it. Because it seemed like, I even remember like when they announced it, I was like, I don't even think I can work out for 100 days in a row. Like I was doubting myself. And now like it's day, 75 we do tomorrow, our group. So yeah, it's just having that belief and then just reframing the way that you look at this, like expecting those objections to come and seeing it as a part of your job. Like that is a part of my job, is to make people understand the value. If I don't see that as a part of my job, then I'm not going to have a lot of fun in the journey, right? So it is a part of my job and I'm happy to do it. Because I want people to believe in their health and I want them to get a good deal and I want them to have the community that I have because it is irreplaceable in my life. So yeah, that's kind of what I have to share. I didn't see the chat. I don't look at the chat when people are.
That's okay. Don't worry. We've got about. I've got the free Zoom, so we've only got 5 minutes. But thank you. No, that was awesome. I mean, I think actually there's like so many little nuggets. I think that there was a couple of things, and I think absolutely like just thinking about objections being an opportunity for us to grow. And because you're absolutely right, with any business, whatever you're doing, there will always be objections, and most of the time they are around money. And I used to work in recruitment, and it was always like, when they asked us about what our rates were, there's always something. I do that when I'm at work. They say, well, how much are you going to charge me for hosting my grant in your team? But I'm like, well, this is how much it's cost, this is how much it costs because of this and this. And I got the confidence in doing that.
Right.
Because I've done it for so long, and it takes practice. And
it does.
It takes time. If you don't get these objections, how are you going to grow? And some people don't. Some people just don't get the objection because they've shared the value. And I think that's the difference. And showing the value and sharing that value on social media and doing all of those things is exactly what we want to do. Shakeology isn't expensive when you look at what is in that bag, like considering the crap that is out there, so I just think that that was really, really important. And I think just having those questions and having that confidence to go back and ask those questions and not being like a mouse,
right?
Because I think that's often what it is, because that shows people you're not confident in it, right? So, anyway, I'm going to stop talking because I could keep going on, but it was brilliant. Thank you so much, Susie. I really appreciate it. Has anyone got any questions? Go on. I know some of you have. They've all gone shy, see? Like,
But honestly, and I will say that because obviously I started as a coach when I was living in the States. And I think that objection handling here is different, absolutely. And if people, if you have uplines who are American and they don't acknowledge that, then I'm sorry, because it's frustrating as hell, because it is different. It's a different culture and people are different. So it is okay, but lucky for all of you, I think. I don't know if you have any American coaches on here, but you're British, okay, and also another American. But most of you are British, right? So you understand British culture, I hope. I'm still trying to get my head around it. But so the objections and the things that you would feel, and maybe that you did feel, right? Like we probably all had our own objections before we signed up and saw the value too. So you want to make sure that you're meeting people where they are, that you're not just making them feel like you don't understand. Like show them that you understand, but also show them why need to invest in themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, yeah, sharing your story and what, you know, how I thought it was expensive. I was on maternity leave, not getting any money when I signed up, and I thought, I was like, £130 a bag, because we didn't have the VAT off it at that point. I was like, are you kidding me? And then I realized the value.
Yeah.
So let's have a quick boomerang before we get cut off. You right? You ready? Go.
Ready.
Oh, it's really wobbly, but that's fine. I think Charlie, you got a picture, didn't you? It's so lovely. Thank you so much, Susie. I really appreciate it. And
you're so welcome. And I'll send you, Hannah, that Google Doc, and everyone, you're free to use it, make a copy of it, share it with your coaches. A lot of it is collected over the years of different coaches, and yeah, I'm not the first one to objection handle. So.
No, you're wonderful. Thank you, my love. I really appreciate it. We all do.
All right, ladies. Have a good night.
Take care, everyone.
Bye.